Hey, it's full 42.
Hello.
We are missing someone. We made up for it by having Ian with us. Yeah, Ian Moss. Mike is running late. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us. If not, we'll try to get by. Please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe if you're okay with Mike missing. No, I'm kidding.
We'll see a surge, and then it's like,
That's how we have to replace them with Ian. Ian, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Ian Moss. I am a game designer full-time. I work for Nerdvana Games most recently, but before that I was freelance and made games like Duelist Island, the Dinosaur Island Totally Liquid expansion, and also most recently Wonderlands War, which is now arriving to backers.
very nice. We've been seeing some pictures of the game all over the internet, and it looks beautiful. And I've also heard the gameplay is really, really good, and people are excited to play it. So, tell us a little bit about the game. Like, what kind of game is it?
So it is an area control bag building game, which also features some drafting, which is how you get all of your resources and all the stuff that goes into your bag. But it's faction based, so each faction has unique powers that you can unlock, and then just some passive abilities that they can always do. And it's based off of Alice in Wonderland. But our version of Alice in Wonderland is painted with the brush of Manny Tremblay, the artist.
Beautiful.
Yes. And such a unique art style for this game that we really leaned into with the gameplay. The game is fun, it's chaotic, it's filled with those madness moments and a lot of back and forth table talk. If I'm the Jabberwock, who I normally like to be, I'm always going to be table talking, trash talking you the entire time, handing you those poison chips, getting those in your bag, and you're going to hate me by the end of the game when you draw those out. So it's a ton of fun. We've had so much fun making it. Ben and Tem Eisner are the co-designers, and obviously Manny did the art, and then we also had obviously published by Skybound Tabletop and Druid City Games. So it had the vision of James Hudson just all the way through from start to finish. This was a game that James was very excited about. And then on the other side of it, if we're talking about the production things, Matt Paquette, who did the graphic design, and if it looks great and flows well, that is the fault of Matt Paquette and then Joel and Kate Finch. I cannot make a great rule book, and that rule book is great. So that is all their fault.
All their fault. That's great. Matt typically comes along every now and then just to say hi, so we'll let him know.
We have Alan in the comments. Hey, Alan. Alan is from Costa Rica. Just so you know, that's how far people tune in.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the game Wonderlands War, when you guys started designing it, did you start with, I want to make an Alice in Wonderland IP game, let's go from there? Or did you start with the type of mechanism that you were looking to incorporate?
So it was definitely the first one. James Hudson emailed us a picture that Manny Tremblay had made of Alice and Alice and the other characters, and he was like, "What if we want to make a game that's this?" He reached out to the Eisners. They also reached out to me, and originally Jonathan Gilmore, who helped kind of build the framework that the game now exists on, but wasn't there on the design team through most of the process. So emailed both groups of us and was like, we want to make this game, and we're going to make it with Manny. So it's definitely theme first for that one. But we took those original, just an Alice in Wonderland kind of a game. Those original discussions were like, what kind of game do we want this to be? And then when we were like, well, what if we did something a little bit different? Because even those early drawings, some of the characters had a little bit of a little sinister look to them. A little bit, they were a little bit too smug. You know what I mean? A little bit too for the regular Wonderland. So that's what we decided on Wonderland's War, and then we had to come up with the backstory of why all that was happening, and
So
then fill in the mechanics.
Yeah, what is the backstory of why they're all at war together? Like in your.
So it all starts when the Looking Glass shatters, and shards of the Looking Glass are now spread all throughout Wonderland. And for some reason, that is anyone who comes in contact with those, it is draining the madness away from them. And we don't know where it's going. We just know that it's being pulled out of Wonderlands. And Wonderlands without madness is very serious. And when things get serious, people start to butt heads and you go to war. So that's the general consensus of like how everything came to be. Was the Looking Glass shattered, madness is being pulled out, and without madness, you got to fight. But first, you have a tea party, obviously.
Of course, it always starts with a tea party.
Someone say Alice in Wonderland, Alice Maddox.
Oh no!
Yeah,
We did it different, I swear.
yeah. No, it looks really, really cool. And that was something like I remember seeing it on Kickstarter, and the thing that held me back at the time. I mean, obviously there wasn't a lot of videos for like 2-player gameplay, and that's why I held back. But I have friends that have a copy, so I'll get to try it, and I'm really excited to try the game because I think that definitely at a higher player count, it seems like something that I would really enjoy, even if there's some take that and stuff. Like it just seems like it lends itself for that kind of game.
We spent quite a.
I was just going to say, if someone's missing or didn't get it, that there's a link in our description right now. First link is going to lead you to where you can get all the good bits and stuff like that, right? Are they missing anything there?
Everything is available currently. You can get just the retail game, just as you always could. It also has, you can get the retail game with the promo cards, which they introduced as a way to help offset the shipping costs when those arrive. So there's like 5 new abilities, new art, promo cards that you can just add into your game of Wonderlandians. And then there's also, you can get the deluxe game and then the deluxe game plus the deluxe chips. You can get everything that you could have gotten from the Kickstarter, but a little bit more of a price increase because, well, the world's a bit different now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so plus I assume backers usually get a little bit cheaper price, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. How long have you guys been working on the game, like from start to now, basically?
Oh man, now I have to remember things. So I think it was probably the design and development process was probably about 2 years, from like the very first email all the way until Kickstarter is ended and we finalized our playtesting and handed off everything for them to like, okay, now make the game. But even after that, like even months after that, they were still working on the rule book, because when you're doing manufacturing, the rule books is usually like the last thing you can get printed. So they were running tests and tests and tests of like rule book tests. Just hand someone the rule book, can they play the game, and just iterating off of that. So from our side, we were done about a year or so, 2 years ago. But then even from then, they were still making changes to the game, but just in the rule book at that point.
Right.
Nice. And do you find that so you said you've worked on previous games, Duelist, you said the is it the 2-player one that you designed?
Yeah. That is the 2-player Dinosaur Island.
And did you do all your previous games with co-designers, or do you have one that you've done by yourself, and what do you typically prefer?
Duelist Island was just designed by me, but it was developed by John Gilmore, who is a co-designer on the original Dinosaur Island with Brian Lewis. So it kind of felt co-designy in a way, where like I had come up with the original idea on my own and pitched it and then got the okay, like, hey, we're going to make this game. And then from there, I was working with John to like go through the process of development. So it kind of felt like a co-design in a lot of ways. But most of my other games have been, most of them have been co-designs and from the start usually. And that process is always good for like keeping on task. You have to be because like you have one person who's good at telling you what you need to do for the next iteration, and then that person's like waits till the last minute to get that done, and then you just go back and forth. Sometimes you just switch off which one of the two is that person every week.
So are you the type of code designer that keeps the other one on task, or do you need that other person to keep you on task?
I'm usually the on-task co-designer. I'm usually the one that's like, hey, we need these last two things. Or I like get it up to the point where I'm like, all right, now I need you to do your thing. And I'm just sitting there like, da, 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 waiting on you.
Yep. Nice.
I can imagine that'd be stressful, especially when you have deadlines to meet and you're waiting for the other person to get something done. It's like, come on.
The key of freelance was always have like 12 projects going. So if I get stopped on one, I just hop over to another one and work on that until I'm stopped.
So are you telling us you have like 11 other projects on the go that we should be expecting in the near future?
Well, now that I'm full time, I can really just scale back and just work on one thing full time and not have to worry about getting these other projects out the door or to their next stages or whatever.
Are you working on anything you could talk about yet?
Nothing I can talk about officially, but there are some things in development and the development stages and some others that have just entered the design phase, which is always exciting.
Duelist went through Kickstarter, right?
Yes, yeah, it was part of the whole like back from the extinction bundle thing, where people could get the deluxe edition of Dinosaur Island again, the Totally Liquid expansion, which is brand new, and then also Duelist. So it's like this thing was like, hey, you want 3 games? Here's 3 games.
Right. Yeah, I backed that. Have all of your games gone through Kickstarter so far?
That's a good question. The most recent one, which obviously, since I work for Nirvana Games, Bunkers and Badasses is the RPG that I was lead designer of, and that one was straight to retail. That one there was pre-orders, and then it came out, which is the business model they're more comfortable with, because then they can just get it ready to a point and be like, hey, here it is, you can get it now.
Right. How was that compared to being a designer for a Kickstarter game? Because with Kickstarter, as a designer, a lot of publishers like the designer to be involved and talk about it and stuff like that. Whereas you probably couldn't say anything until they were ready to announce a game that people could just kind of pre-order or buy right away, right?
Yeah. There was this like very long secretive period. I had been invited out to the Borderlands 3 launch party in Texas. And I went, and like people were asking like, oh, why'd you get to go to that? And I was like, oh, I just got the opportunity to go. There's no reason why I get to go to this. Is to find out, because we had been working on this game for months now at that point, and because we were part of like, the sort of in some way a small part of the Gearbox family, we were invited to go to this launch party. So it's this fun thing of like, I don't know, I just get to do cool things sometimes. Who knows why that is?
So it was called what and Badasses? I can't remember the first one. Starts with
Bunkers and Badasses.
Bunkers and Badasses.
What's that one all about?
So that is the in-universe parody D&D that they have in the Borderlands universe. So inside of Borderlands, they play a game that's called Bunkers and Badasses, which is very reminiscent of Dungeons and Dragons. But we got to make it a real thing. So now you can actually play Bunkers and Badasses, which it's very much a fantasy world, but also there are guns. And there's just guns because there's guns, right? That's the real reason. There's just guns.
So do you do a lot of RPG?
Yeah. I like RPGs more than I get to play them, I guess would be the thing. Is I have a lot of RPGs. I don't get the chance to play them that often. But there's quite a few that if you were like, hey, we're playing an RPG after this, I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
And do you have you designed any RPGs? Just straight up only RPG?
I hadn't designed like full RPGs before Bunkers and Badasses. I was the lead on Bunkers and Badasses. That was my first foray into like, here's a 250-page rule book. I made this.
Right.
But before that, I had done modules for other smaller RPGs. Like I had done modules for Kids on Bikes. There was a Species that I wrote for Teens in Space. The what was it called? The North Sea Epilogues, the like Raiders of the North Sea RPG that they made. Huge fan of that. So when they reached out and asked if John Gilmore and I wanted to make a module for it, I was like, yes, please. But even then, like there was sort of like my wheelhouse, I would say, is in like comedy adventure, like adventure comedy or action comedy. So even with the epilogues module, everyone else was writing these very serious like Viking things, and I was writing something that was like John and I were writing something that was more based off like Eric the Viking and like Norseman, if you've seen that. It was very much parody based, and so you had your Jarl was named Carl, and you get sent off to this outpost because the new Jarl that came in doesn't like you and is basically running your group into the ground, and you're like, hey, stop it. And so he kicks you off to this area where he has you doing like menial tasks. So the players are all like, all right, I want you to kill all of the rabbits that are in this that are around us. So the players have to then go kill all the rabbits. So it's very much like not a normal adventure. But yeah, that's my wheelhouse, is those weird comedy things. Because with RPGs, a lot of times you can get sidetracked or distracted very easily. Like if someone has to come up with the name of a character and it's a funny name, they're like, well, I'm going to follow this character to the death. Like I'm going to follow them on their adventures wherever they go. Screw whatever you had planned. Mm-hmm. So what I always try and do is I try and build the comedy into the story so that the fun thing is also the thing this game wants you to do.
So Bunkers and Badasses, that's all comedic and that same kind of feeling? Yeah,
like it's got all of the normal mechanics you would see in any other RPG, but it's more on the playful side, to where you could like death is really just an inconvenience, because in the Borderlands universe they have these like new U stations where you respawn. So if you die in Bunkers and Badasses, you respawn at a brew U station, because that's the fantasy equivalent, right? It's just a cauldron and you just come out of it and you're all covered in goo. But you might have some sort of like a small trauma to go with it. So there's always a cost to death, but it's usually like your name is, what was the name that we had? It's not Farty McFarderson. It's very something similar. Sometimes you come back and your name's Farty McFarderson for a day. Who knows?
Is it a D6 or D20 or?
It's mostly like the D20 system. So a lot of your actions, you roll D20 for any of your checks and for most of your attacks and stuff. But then like all of the different weapons and guns and stuff use their own like dice for you to complete their things.
Cool. I mean, I guess that makes sense if you're parroting the Dungeons and Dragons thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we have Michael Petrie in the comments. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael. How's it going?
We just got called Cool Kids. I think that's the first time I get called cool. And then Dan's in the comment.
Did any of your created content you made for B&B make it into the new Tiny Tina's Wonderland game from a few months ago?
Character. So the newest Gearbox game that was just released this last month was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and in that they are playing Bunkers and Badasses in the game. So your character is being played by a character playing Bunkers and Badasses. Yeah. So unfortunately, the way the timelines and stuff usually go, these things weren't really happening simultaneously. I mean, they kind of were, but not in the way where our ideas ended up in their game. They do use our logo, which is great. So like the Bunkers and Badasses logo that you see on the box or on the source book is the same that you see in the game. And we also have the same guild names. So our guilds are the same name that they're called in universe and there. So we were able to kind of work together a little bit, but not so much that like a character that we made ended up in there. Although there's one that I would love it if there's a character that it would end up in the Wonderlands universe, because they're my favorite character, just offhand character that we wrote in for Bunkers and Badasses. His name's Dunk Balla.
Dunk Allah?
Dunk Balla.
Balla.
Yeah. And he's there in a paragraph describing how your players are going to get sidetracked. So, like, you know, you made a character called Dunk Balla and he's a wizard. So now your players are like, well, we gotta play basketball now. So then you as the bunker master have to figure out how basketball works in each universe, all because you named a character Dunk Balla.
That's funny.
Also got recently played Wonderlands War and loved it. Nice.
Oh, great. Amazing. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Michael saying they saw Tiny Tina's on Critical Role. Yeah, that was a crazy thing that happened. For the launch of Wonderlands last month, they did a tie-in in which Critical Role, members of Critical Role, and then other guests played Bunkers and Badasses as like their weekly show that they do, which is awesome. And then it was the Bunker Master, or BM as they're called in the game. Yes, thank you. Was Ashley Birch, who does the voice of Tiny Tina in both Wonderlands and the Borderlands universe. So that was like, I mean, check mark, bucket list kind of style thing for multiple buckets checked off with one thing. It was crazy.
That's really cool.
Wow.
Yep.
That's cool. So you didn't work on the first Dinosaur Island, but is it? Oh, maybe you did, but not as a designer, right, or a named designer on there. But so
yeah,
how did you get to Dinosaur Island?
So I was playtesting. I was part of the local group that have been playtesting Dinosaur Island a bunch. Like, you think that game has a lot of pieces. There was a version where they cut out over 200 components from that game. And it now has the amount of components that you see in it, which is still an insane amount of components. But think of it with like 200 more. Wow. So there's a lot of playtesting done with Dinosaur Island. And like after it released, or was like on Kickstarter and did really well, I was talking to John about like other projects and stuff in the works, and none of them were like Dinosaur Island additional projects. And I was like, that's crazy. Like this game could have like a 2-player version of it. Like that would be crazy. They have like it's such a the experience is so like the fundamental experience everyone understands so perfectly. Like we get it. You're running a dinosaur theme park. Got it. We got the concept. We understand that like a 2-player version, like a head-to-head version would be cool. And he's like, well, you should make one. And I was like, I guess I'll try. And then so I made something and it kind of worked. And then through playtesting, it worked more. And then I got the opportunity to show Nathan and Molly, who own Pandasaurus Games, at a convention. And they went into it like as nicely as they could, being like, listen, we'll play this, but we don't really need a 2-player game for a game that already plays 2 players. Because Dinosaur Island definitely already plays 2 players. And then they played it, and then they got mad because they were like, well, now we have to make this.
But that's a good kind of mad.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, dang it, this is really good. This wasn't supposed to be this good. We were supposed to be able to say no to this really easily. And then, so then it went through development with John as the main developer. And throughout that entire process, no one ever changed the name from Duelist Island, and they let me get away with that. Someone should have stopped me. I don't know why they didn't.
Why not?
Yeah, it works, yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah, no, it definitely works. It was just sort of a lot of times where I was like, Duelist Island was a lot of times just have like placeholder names before the actual name. It was always called Duelisor because I thought that was funny. And I just totally thought at some point it would get renamed. I don't know. I don't know what to, but but they stuck with it.
So we're going to do our top 5 most well-produced games, I think it is. But before we do that, I have a lightning round to put you through. Let me see here. Let me see if I can share it. It's going to be torturous and arduous. You're going to hate every moment of it.
Ready?
No,
not
just
that bad.
at the end of it, it's going to tell you what kind of character you are most like, and it's one
Okay.
weird character for no reasons whatsoever, really. All right, so let me share real quick. We've been doing this for a couple episodes now. We put Stephen Bonacore through it, Roy Cannaday. All right, so what we're going to do is it's going to be an either-or thing, and you're going to pick basically yellow or red, and it's going to go down like a tree structure.
Gotcha.
All right, so first question, fantasy or sci-fi?
Oh. See, Bunkers of Badasses, that's like right in the middle. So, but unfortunately, I can't live right in the middle. I gotta say fantasy.
All right. Next question: Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
If I switch up the answer on this one, this is going to be telling, right? Yeah, I've always loved Lord of the Rings. I think it's got to be Lord of the Rings.
All right. Always dance when you walk or sing when you talk?
I, without realizing it, sing when I talk normally. So if I'm just standing there doing nothing at the end of a sentence, I'll just be like, dun, dun. Like Adam's like, whoa, where did that come from? So I guess I got to go with sing when you talk.
All right. Just fair warning, they might get weirder as we go down.
Expecting it.
It depends on where you go. Always sound like SpongeBob or everyone sounds like SpongeBob?
For everyone else's life. That's a good one. I would always sound like SpongeBob. I will be the chaos in the world.
Nice.
Film noir or horror?
Oh, I love horror in the way that I love watching kill counts, and that's my relationship with horror. Is I watch kill counts for horror movies, and that's about it. So I got to go film noir.
All right. Batman or Wolverine?
Batman. We got to go Batman.
Oh, that was quick.
Michael wouldn't even let you ask that question. He would have stopped you.
Yeah, but he's not here. He's not here. Whatever you want.
Well, no, he knows me. That's what I'm saying. He knows it would be Batman.
Laugh like a duck or a dolphin?
Or a dolphin, even.
Yeah, is there an E at the end of dolphin?
No, there isn't. No, it should
be. A dolphin. Or spell like me.
Oh, how did dolphins laugh? That's a.
I guess whatever their voice normally, that little cackle.
So I guess if I'm talking like SpongeBob all the time, it's got to be dolphin then, right?
Oh yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah, you got to keep that underwater theme.
All right, dolphin goes to red. Country music or disco music?
Anything that's not country music, please. Disco music.
Nice. Sound like Christopher Walken or Christopher Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd. Love Christopher Walken, but...
Oh, we're almost near the end here. Never sing or sing everything loudly and poorly?
Oh, I do that already, I guess. Loudly and poorly.
Loudly and poorly. That makes you Phoebe from Friends.
Nice.
Cool. I wish I understood that reference.
All scientifically proven. You can't argue it. I guess you could. But. So that's your little...
Correct? I have no idea.
Yeah. That's your little path of questions there.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, I almost went like straight left side.
Yeah. It was that fantasy right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
And I put Star Wars in there as a little tricksy because I have a friend that says Star Wars is just fantasy in space. So, sure. Which I kind of agree with.
I get it. Yeah. I can see that.
All right. Thanks for playing the lightning round.
Yeah.
You will be scarred for life.
Sure.
Now we know that Ian sings a lot.
Yes.
It's just in sentences, just when I'm talking to myself sometimes.
And we expect it to all be in singing voice now. Before we get into the top 5, do you, Katia, want to talk a little bit about your current Kickstarter?
Yes, if you want to pull it up. Just a reminder for people that there's only really 2 weeks left. Is that it? 2 weeks?
13 days.
Oh my gosh, it's flying by. Only 2 weeks left to back the calendar Kickstarter that I have going on currently. It's funded at 130%, and we have, I think, 530 some odd backers already. We got a lot of good publishers that have partnered this year. Some of them have been guests on here even in the past. So super exciting. This is like the mosaic for Michael's company that he works for. That's for the Stuff of Legend. But yeah, it's a calendar for board gamers. So it has the 10 by 10 challenge page at the end. And one of the stretch goal and the social stretch goals would give us even more fun challenges to do throughout the year. So, there's other merch to purchase as a bundle, or you can do it in the add-ons in the Pledge Manager. But it's super fun, and I'm excited that this is the 3rd year and it's going well. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I like I like all of it, but I mean the Flamecraft one with the little, is that a cupcake in his hand?
It's a cupcake. It's a cute little cupcake. Yeah. And for those that, we'll have the link, I'm assuming, in the description. Yeah, the little Charlie Brown tree. That was so fun. That was so fun to make. Yeah. It's called the 2023 Board Game Mosaic Calendar. So yeah.
Check it out.
Yes, please. All right. So that's my plug. And now we can do our top 5.
My favorite sci-fi is anime about high school. Huh. Yeah. Oh. I've gotten into arguments between what is sci-fi, what is all that. Maybe you have a possible backer.
He might have already backed it. But thanks, Alan.
All right, so our top 5.
Our top 5.
So what did well-produced games mean to you? Like, we don't normally talk this stuff out. We just say, hey, come up with 5. And then half the time we all have different ideas of what this means. So I'm always curious at what this is.
Well, for me, it was something that has nice components, usually a nice insert as well, and that is good to play. Like, it's not just about the bling, it's about the substance as well. Like, I picked games that not only have great components that are beautiful to look at, but the gameplay is really interesting. So that's what I went by.
Yeah, mine was based on the surprise. Like, I was surprised at how well produced something was. Like, and again, it goes back to like the gameplay side of it too, because it's sort of it's if it's intentionally done, like something that increases the gameplay effect, and not just something that sort of, because there are some games that like you get all these extras, but they actually end up hurting the gameplay experience. There's a couple games where like you have the characters on tiles and they get upgraded to minis, and the minis are like too big for the tiles. Mm-hmm. So it's just sort of like minis to add minis kind of thing. So mine was kind of based on like, does it affect gameplay positively? And was I surprised with how well done everything was when I opened it up and played it? Right.
Yep.
I actually just changed one of mine, because when you said inserts, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about how that, and then it popped a game in my head. I was like, oh, I got to put that one in it. So that's going to be my number 1 or whatever, just to keep that off to the side. All right. Well, Katia, do you want to begin?
Yeah, I'll start.
Go ahead.
I have a pile here, and I have a list here. I think I'm going to start with. I may be going over 5. It's possible that I'll hit 6 or 7. So my apologies. I'll start with. I'll start with this one here. This is actually just the retail version, but the deluxe is fantastic.
Yeah.
In the Hall of the Mountain King by Burnt Island Games. This game, I don't, yeah, this is not the fancy version, but yeah, I was going to say on BGG, there are some pictures of the components and the boards. Yeah, like
that's definitely not the fancy version.
No, that's prototype.
This
is what the little altars or whatever you call them, like those little statues, look like in the deluxe version. And
I have the deluxe version. It's fantastic.
Like that, yeah. And the crown is your first player marker or whatever. Like the person who finishes first gets the crown. Hey, Chris from Tabletop Express. The game is beautiful to look at. The components are great. The insert is great. Even the non-deluxe version, the little cart, the little hammer, everything about it looks good. Like and then you get like the trolls. Your little marker to move forward on the track is actually like a little colored troll. I just found that game to be stunning. And the coins are like this copper color. And on one side you have the mountain, and on the other side you have the troll, and they're so gorgeous. Do you have a copy, Chris?
Yes, he was looking.
It would not be a full 42 show without somebody getting up to grab something off the shelf. That is like
I can go get mine too.
Happens every episode.
I have to leave the room though. That's the only important. Mine's a little bit farther away than yours.
Do you have the deluxe one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it also has the deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything
and stuff.
Everything fits so well. Show the coins. The coins are just so beautiful.
Oh, yeah. They're thicker too. They're like this thick. Yeah, they're thicker than normal.
It's going to be a show and tell.
It's going to be a show and tell. It's fine. Yeah.
Show and tell episode. Ooh, wrong way.
Yeah, you gotta manually focus.
Yeah, so that's the side of the mountain, and then you have the troll on the other side. Yeah, they're so cool. Yeah. And for those that aren't familiar with the game, you're going basically deeper. Yeah, the cute little hammers, like everything in the game, the Hearthstone, like it's all super lovely. Yeah, the little cart. The way that the game works is you're aiming to go further in the mountain because things score higher, and you're placing down tiles and claiming areas basically with those tiles. You're uncovering resources, and then the way that it works is when you hire your trolls, you have cards that are like layered, and things cascade down when you collect resources. And I think that's the really cool thing about the game. Yeah, those statues are so nice, and the colors are so unusual as well, like that shade of orange and that aqua color. Like it's super, super nice to look at. But yeah, and yeah, like I said, the gameplay is so good. Like the cascading of the resources that, like when you add a troll, everything else ends up with resources on it that is attached to that one. Like it's just such a cool concept. And
honestly, this is one of my favorite things. Just open it up and play.
Yep. Yeah, the game it's stunning, and it's really, really good as well. So that had to make my top 5 well-produced games.
We're gonna cost some people some money tonight.
It's possible. I'm not even sorry, because Burnt Island and KTBG has been putting out stellar games. So go spend your money. Yeah.
That's my favorite of all the ones up there. I think I've played so far is in the Hall of Mountain King.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The aesthetic is very. I mean, it's Kwanchai Moria art, and like, obviously, I'm on board. You got me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm gonna be getting up a lot, I guess.
Oh.
It's just so much better to show them, I guess, because some of these
I
pictures
didn't bring
they
any
don't.
in here.
Yeah, I won't do it for all of them. It was just some of these pictures weren't showing. Yeah, let's see those. These right here. Oh, I got rid of it. No, I didn't. Where is it? Oh, yeah, these right here aren't the deluxe ones. You want to see?
Yeah, that's not even
Yeah,
deluxe.
but now you can kind of see them in there. Yep, but it's not as
Yeah,
close.
you
up.
want to see that kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
And it wasn't showing off the resources either.
Right. Yep. Yeah, they had a recent one that was the like part 2 or actually I think it was a prequel or something like that, right?
That's the one, The Fall of the Mountain King. That's
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
or the
Oh, okay. I just saw the Mountain King part. I didn't read the first part. But yeah. And of course I got that because of the success of this one. But did they have the original one in there as well?
Probably. Yeah,
I couldn't
I would
remember
think
if they did or
so.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, good pick. I forgot about that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ian, what you got? Beat that.
My number 5 is one of the largest boxes that I have in my house. I don't have it here. I could go grab it, but it's it's heavy. It's Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef, the first one. I wasn't gonna do Wonderlands War. Listen, if someone else wants to put that on their list, they can. I'm too biased on that one.
I actually have it here as my honorable mention because I have.
There you go.
But
it's why we chose this topic is because we thought it was a good transition talking about your game that is so well produced, which we'll show afterwards. And when Chris does the honorable mentions, we'll pull up pictures of what your game looks like, but it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, so Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef, the deluxe edition, even the retail edition is great. Again, it's one of those things where like retail edition's great, deluxe edition is just another level. But it has all of these dice, which have their own like dice tray that you just kind of take out and you use, and they're all separated by level. Each of the player boards has 4 dials on it that you're using, which I mean, this is the retail version that you're seeing here. I guess this may be a prototype, but in general, that's kind of like even the retail edition had these great dials, which have all this information. And you're using them throughout the game and turning them. The shells and the fruit. The deluxe edition has squishy fruit. Like the fruit is squishy, and I don't know what the level is for well-produced game, but that's the level is squishy fruit. I don't know how to explain that otherwise. The level is squishy fruit.
Hey, Matt.
You get higher than that? I don't know. Hey, Matt. How's it going? We were just talking about you earlier. It probably will be again.
All bad stuff.
All bad stuff. But yeah, all of the boards are shaped, and they kind of create this like cascading kind of rectangular pattern around that, like it just kind of frames everything, like the individual boards, which are great. And then the action discs are just actual discs. Like everything they did was just like one step above what you really needed to do for a production, and made the deluxe edition very easy for me to back. And they have Sagashi as an orange player color. I love, always love an orange player color. And Hall of the Mountain King also orange player color. Great. There they are.
Yeah, the squishy fruits, right?
Yep, and the shells are like pearlescent, so they're not just like a resin shell. They have like a swirly kind of pattern to them.
That would be really cool in my mosaics. I feel like I need a copy now.
Also, there's a dice tray. Like, what is that? What game comes with its own dice tray for you? That's like a phone. What is that called?
It's like a toy and a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say shrink wrap, but that's not it because it's like a
vacuum form.
Vacuum form. That's what it is. Yes, thank you.
That's really cool. The artwork in that game, when it came out on Kickstarter, I was relatively new to Kickstarter, and I had backed it right away, and then I ended up pulling out like last minute. But the art was the thing that had me that grabbed me right away.
The art and the world building by Mr. Cuddington is next level. Like having met them, because there were like Skybound or Druid City retreats that I had gone to because we were working on Wonderlands War or other projects or whatever that had to do with James Hudson, who was working with Druid City and then went to Skybound. So it was like the first year was a Druid City retreat, and then the second year was a full-on Skybound retreat because there's with more people. Having met Mr. Cuddington there, they are super passionate about the world. Like that world is their child at this point. Like they love that world so much, and they would happily draw and make art for it forever if someone would let them. Which seems like what James is doing. It's just he's going to let them draw and make art for it however long. They made the full RPG too. So
right,
yeah.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
great pick. Took away my honorable mention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's probably going to be a few crossovers, I'm sure.
There probably will be.
So my number 5 is Sleeping Gods. Have you had a chance to play this yet?
Nope.
So, well, that's painted, but so Sleeping God, that's how that comes right there. Sleeping Gods, one of the best things about it, I guess I could have pulled it off the shelf as well, but one of the best things about it, of course, is Ryan Luckett's art and his world building as well. And he has tokens for just like one artifact that you may never ever come across, depending on how you play this game. And like he just went ahead and made everything possibly available. There's so much stuff. Every time I open it up, I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know. And I've gone through 3 campaigns already. So there's always more stuff to do. But, it comes with the coins and the nice, good, heavy coins and stuff. And the map that opens up.
If you pre-ordered it, like I guess I don't know if the regular edition comes with the coins.
The version that
up. Yes, that's the version I have also. Obviously,
if you were a backer, I know you have that much. I don't know what it is in retail. You're right. It's still very playable without, but I think for the most part, when we're talking about, well, let me think. Yeah, for the most part, I'm probably going to be talking about deluxe stuff. But that's part of this.
The rest of mine are not deluxe things. The rest of mine are just how they come. So this will be
Talisman is not on my list, Matt. He knows that I played that last weekend.
Yeah.
And complained about it. One of my favorite things, of course, is the book. We lost Katia.
Yeah, she disappeared.
She'll pop back in. There might be an internet issue. But one of my favorite things is the booklet. And I know that other people have done the spiral booklet kind of thing. But he has if you look on the back of it, it shows an entire world map. And you can see the page numbers, how they go to and how it all links together. And it just makes it feel like this huge epic world you could go on forever exploring. So.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts was the campaign, like the ledger map.
Yeah.
You can like write notes and everything.
Yep.
So you can like make notes about the things you've encountered, the numbers that you've seen, and be like, 23. Don't go to 23. It will not work well. You will die.
I just wanted to make sure you were paying attention. So I just check out.
we noticed. But yeah. See, there's just that's a card, but there's the coins that you can get if you get the deluxe one. I don't know what that is.
One made whatever that is.
Yeah. Oh, and it comes with all these boxes that let you organize and save things in the right place. So you open it up and you just see boxes inside. It's very nice. So
that last picture was very much our 2-player experience, which is each of us had 4 characters and then the captain every time.
Yeah. I think you have to play with all 9 characters, right?
Yep.
no matter what the player count is, which is kind of interesting. It almost makes me wonder why the cap is 4 players. I guess you'd be waiting around for a while before it's your turn, but it always feels like it's your turn. That's what's because you're always talking to each other and what to do and stuff like that. Yep. So, and I'm not even a cooperative game fan, really. Like, you have to be really good for me to talk about it, and I talk about this one quite a bit. So, but yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, I'll go to my next one. It's a nice transition from this one because you talked about the little boxes. So this is my next one.
Wonderland
II Chronicles. So this game, first of all, is a fantastic game. For anybody who has not had the chance to play it, I wish that for you.
You're just going to show it off how I make you big.
Oh, all right. Then. All right, so there is a board. But
it's got a board.
right? It's a board game, and it has a board. This is what the inside of the box looks like with all these little modules here that you can add to the game. And the resources, I mean, you got your wheat. You got your fun little fluffy sheep. Everybody knows I'm like a wooden components person, so this is wood, but it actually looks like cinnamon buns.
I mean, it's wood.
Every time I see those, I want to eat cinnamon buns. And then you got your little cows. And then you have your little, like your individual meeples that are different shape, like everybody's holding a different weapon. So the gameplay is really, really good. You have it's like I guess a rondelle type mechanism or like a leapfrog type mechanism. Am I still on with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, because you've both disappeared from my screen. That is freaking me out. So yeah, basically you're going around the board and you take action up until the point where you've passed your opponent, and then whoever's last goes. And so you're going around the board and drafting tiles, and you're building your area, but you get rewarded for keeping your area relatively small. So whoever has like the most amount of tile at the end of the game loses points because of that. So like it's a nice balance, and there's another area where you go and travel and get some bonus stuff. So it's just the game altogether. Oh, and I got to show off Nessie because it comes with a Nessie meeple in one of the Chronicles. Like, come on.
Nice.
So anyway, like, yeah. I love components like that. So obviously this game for me ticks a lot of boxes, but like I said, the gameplay is really, really good. So yeah, that is my number 4, I guess.
Hey, I think I played this once. And do you play it like once before you add in modules? Is that like normally how it goes, or do you add in modules straight away? I think we did the thing that normally happens, whereas we're like, oh, it's got all these cool modules. We didn't use any of them because I only played it the one time. So like, I played it with nothing. I played it with none of the additions. I played the regular game, but I'm sure all the additions are really cool. That was just the thing that kept happening was I played the regular version, but never any of the cool add-ons because I only played it the one time.
The beauty of it is, so I've played with, I think, one or two add-ons so far. And the beauty of them is that they are so easy to learn, and they don't overhaul the game, that it's easy to incorporate one every time you play. I think you could try a different one. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is it? What's happening? Is it me?
Yep, you're number 4.
All right, time to get weird. This game is my number 4 from top 5 well-produced games. Is called Scarabia. I don't know if anyone's Scarabia. Yes, it's a Y. Rabya.
It sounds familiar.
B-Y. Okay, I'm spelling it wrong.
SCARABYA. There it is.
I think I have this game.
Yeah, it
Oh,
sounds
I do
familiar.
have-
Oh, this is a like it's like a flipping. It's not flipping or writing. It's not rolling or writing, but it's you flip a card and place a tile, right? So it's not flipping right, but it's kind of one of those Tetris ones where you like flip a tile or flip a card, everyone places that tile. The well-produced portion of it. Oh, what are those? That's different. So the version that I have is not that. The game is like $20, and it comes with like each player has, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 sculpted mountain pieces that get placed into the recesses of the board after you're done building your board. So one player starts off, they set their 4 little tiles up in the middle of their square board there, and then everyone matches their orientation so that you're all playing on the same board. And then each player fills in the gaps with those mountain pieces. It 100% does not need those to be there, but they are like the coolest thing that has almost no purpose. But in gameplay, it serves a very crucial purpose. So you can kind of place stuff. The first thing you place has to be placed in like the 4 squares in the middle of your board, and then everything else has to like touch things going outward. Your normal tile placement rules can't run off the board, can't overlap things. And crucially, you can't build over top of those mountain pieces. But I'm sure what happened, if they were playtesting or something, players would just forget that rule if they were just like tokens or just on the board themselves. So making them physical 3D pieces means that I will never accidentally cover one of them up.
Right. Kind of like the domes in Santorini.
Yeah, exactly.
That once that's there, you're not going to go and accidentally put something on. Like they designed it well for that, right? So.
Yep. So the goal of the game is to excavate the different, as many scarabs as you can, and you're trying to surround the scarabs in groups of 4 or less. Oh, that must have been an early version,
yeah,
or a super upgraded version. So as you're playing, you're going to be trying to surround scarabs in groups of 4 or less. If you get a scarab in a group of 4, it's worth 4 points. If you get a scarab in a group of 3 squares, it's worth 3 points. So as you can see in the top left there, that group of 3 squares has 2 scarabs in it, so they're both worth 3 points. So the best thing to do is get them in groups of like 3 or 4, but then you've kind of ruined yourself for everything else that you want to do because you need to be closing off these other areas to score them. The game is about not crushing scarabs, and you spend the entire game crushing scarabs. You hate doing it, but you just crush scarabs the whole game, and you're like, every time you place a tile, you're probably crushing a scarab, and it's dreams, and then it's just dashing your hopes and dreams a little bit over the course of the game. The game plays in 20 minutes, and I love it. I bring it out anytime there's like 4 or less people, and it's like the start of a game night. I immediately bring out that game. Like, we're playing Scravia because it's quick, it's fast, and look at these mountain pieces. There's no reason they should be here, but I love them.
I actually have this game. I picked it up at a game store, but I haven't opened it up yet. So
it's fantastic. It's such a great filler game. You will play like 2 or 3 times in a row without even like being like, oh, what should we play next? You're like, this. We play this again.
Nice.
That's fun. That's a good. Yeah. It's a good sign of a good game. Yeah.
No.
Very cool. All right. Well, my number 4, I'm going to be the basic bitch of the group and say Everdell.
I knew it was coming for somebody. I didn't know who. But
it's got to be in there. It's got the big tree. It has the squishy berries. When you said the squishy fruit, I was like, mine has the coins and all that. So I don't know. Is that retail or the metal coins? Is that retail or did that come from the Kickstarter only?
It is not
probably
retail because I don't have metal coins with that game.
I think I have retail also.
I still have expansions that I've opened up just to see what's in it, but I haven't played all of them yet. I've played 2 of the 4 expansions I have right now. So, but the minute I got the boxes, I had to open them up and see, what was in there. So I think everybody has seen, it's gorgeous art. I think everybody's seen the trees and the
like the animal meeples in there too.
Yeah.
They're
so. Yeah. Now I know there's the argument of how functional that tree is.
Correct.
And I would agree with some of that argument.
Right. Yeah. Also, the berries roll.
Yes.
That's my only thing. That's the only thing. Like it might have made my list. If the berries had just one side where they just didn't roll. But they all roll.
We always, not always, but sometimes we have little tiny bowls that we use next to it, and we use that for most games anyway. So you have to put the berries in there, otherwise, the minute you take one, other ones start flying away.
Just go around.
I've seen people make like these cool little nests just for this game.
Oh yeah,
you can buy them on Etsy.
Fun.
Yeah, I've seen little nests made like out of clay or whatever, and then it holds your berries and stuff. But yeah,
some insane person sleeved all those cards. Okay,
I mean. There are people who sleeve every game before they play them. They will not play a game until they've sleeved it.
If they enjoy it, then fine.
Are you a sleever, Ian?
Deck builders are the only games that I've ever sleeved. It's usually just deck builders because I know those cards are going to be slammed against each other so many times, during the process. And a lot of deck builders break like the cardinal rule of deck builder expansions, where the expansion backs are slightly different color than the regular game backs. So like Tyrants of the Underdark had that problem where like a lot of times, sometimes I know like the behind the scenes is like they had a different company make the expansion than the base game, which is just stuff you really can't avoid. But yeah, so I usually sleeve deck builders for that reason.
Well, and I know from experience, even the same printer can, if you print one deck off of one sheet, you do it like the next day onto a different sheet, and those decks could look slightly different. Even on the same print run. So, yeah.
There was I don't want to get too much off topic, but there was a fun, the Vault Wars expansion that I got to help work on had a very fun caveat, as in a restriction that we had to make, which was we couldn't add any cards to any of the existing decks in the game. And that was because the printer who printed the original print run of Vault Wars was no longer in business, and like the subsequent print runs of Vault Wars were through a different printer, and the card backs are just off slightly. So working around that, we weren't able to add any cards to any of the existing decks. So we had to make a game. We had to make an expansion to a game that didn't add anything to any of the existing stuff, which is fun. It was a fun challenge, and it turned out fantastic. We just have a separate deck that you now play from, and I never would have thought of that otherwise.
I did the same thing with Troubles. Whenever we decided to make two expansions for it, we decided we couldn't add to, even though we used the same printer, we just know how hard it is. Sometimes the cut is weird. I've seen actually where the deck of cards is just like slightly taller because I guess the tooling changed within a year or so or something. So we just avoided it. So yeah, that's my boring number 4.
I mean, it had to be on here. It had to be.
It had to be. All right, what
Everyone
you got?
Talked about it when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have more than 5. I'm doing the count real quick, and I think I'm at 7. It is what it is. Oh well, I'll make up for the fact that Michael's not here. So
yeah, we'll say these are his. Yeah, the extras are his.
By the way, I know why this shut down earlier. I'm seeing a little icon telling me my computer needs another update, so that's why. Hoping that it will make it through the rest of the show. All right, so my next one is maybe a little obvious, but it's Dwellings of Eldervale. I had to put it in there.
You just took my next one away from me.
I figured that one we would have in common. I knew there had to be overlap on this one.
I wanted to play this so bad at Gathering, and I didn't get a chance to.
It is such a good game. The first time that I played it after receiving my copy, it felt like the kind of game that ticks so many boxes for me in terms of like a well-rounded game. Like it includes area control, worker placement, like resource management, hand management. Like it just has it all, but it all makes sense, and it's just such a cohesive design, and the production of it is beautiful. Like the minis with the dark wash. They even come with the sound base if you want to, have sound from your monsters.
And you should.
The meeple had the screen on, print on them. And then it all comes in the game trays that are like so well organized, and basically,
it's like one per faction, right? Like each faction just gets their own tray, with everything.
I know there were complaints about the lids of those trays because they were cardboard, and people were like, well, after using them a couple times, it starts to bend. I didn't have an issue with it. I don't think it would warrant me taking it off my list just because of that, because to me it was pretty minor. I just think the game overall is beautiful. The resources as well, like the little gems, the little hammers, and everything is just top notch, and the gameplay is fantastic. So that had to make my list.
I'm glad you put it on your list.
It's on my wish list.
I'm glad you put it on your list. It's a little silly of me to put it on mine, but because I actually designed the coins, I worked on some of this stuff. But yeah, resource trays, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really great game.
I was just working on files for that today, actually. So, yep.
And we're on to Ian's next one, right?
Is this number 3?
Yeah.
So this one was one of the first times that I ever opened a box and it was like, whoa! Like, because I don't remember where I think I got the game from like my local game store. This wasn't anything like I backed a Kickstarter or anything. I'd heard good things. I picked up the game. It's Abyss.
Oh,
nice.
The artwork in that game is beautiful.
Abyss was like one of the very first ones that I ever opened. Was like blown away by the production value. And again, I tried to there are a couple of mine that are Kickstarter ones, but I tried to avoid that one because I wanted my list to be more around like the games I was surprised by. And a lot of times the Kickstarter, you kind of know exactly what you're getting. You know if there's a game tray, you know what the screen printed meeples are going to look like, so you're not really ever surprised by the final production of a thing, other than being like, oh, it met expectations. Like it was what I thought it was going to be. So Abyss was fantastic. Abyss with they have the pearls, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the first games where I was like, you can just make pieces out of like anything. Doesn't have to be like a little token I have to punch out and then I just use those. No, they put in actual pearls. They gave you little clamshell trays. One of the first times I'd seen like vacuum form trays in a game, which now that's the bread and butter of almost every insert is those vacuum formed trays. And then the pearls, the board itself was like with all of the art and everything, that like sideboard with those little eel tokens. The key pieces were great. Like everything about it was super good, and the different covers. Like this first time where I got a game, and then I found out later that I had gotten one of 5 versions of that game that you could get, and I was like, whoa, wait, what? There's other versions I could have gotten.
And the logo's not on the front either, which was unusual.
Yeah,
it's just a face.
Just the face. Yeah.
But it works. I mean, you pick up that box. Like you see that box, it's so different from everything else. You're like, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
Which one did you get, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
I think I got that one. I think I got the one with the no, not the cool purple one. I got the red one. With the angry military guy.
That's the one
I didn't know there were options.
I know. I had the purple one there. I like the green best though.
The green one's good.
Yeah, the green's great.
I think the blue. I think the one with just the blue face. That one. I think that's the most common one that people have.
Yeah, I think that's the iconic one. It's the one everyone kind of remembers. Yeah. I also got Conspiracies of Abyss or whatever the little small game was.
Okay.
The newer one, they also had 5 different covers for that one, but it's in a little like metal tin.
Oh.
It's a smaller game. It's still very good. I recommend it.
Haven't heard anything about that one though.
Yep.
Yeah, they just kind of released it. It just came out. I don't know. I was excited for it because I really loved Abyss.
And it's a Bruno Cathala game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a picture in here. Hold on, let me pull it up because it's too funny. There it is.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. When I opened up that box, I was again like the same, just like you were saying with the pearls. I was like, I didn't realize you can make resources out of like to make them look like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up until then, I only really saw the wooden cubes or the wooden wheats and stuff like that, and yeah, it's nice. Again, though, you gotta have those shells. It's like those berries; they'll roll off.
Yeah, yeah. But they came with the solution. There was the little shells come with the game, so they thought about it.
And you can't play this game without someone swirling.
Yeah.
A pearl
when you only have a couple.
Yeah.
Someone does it every time.
Until one goes flying off, and you're like, "Uh-oh, we're down one."
Katia took my number 3, Dwelling. So
you said you had 6, though, right?
Yeah, he
had honorable mention.
Tidal Blades.
I took that one.
All right. Well, then I
look around. Hold on. How about Scythe? Can I still summarize?
Scythe? Yeah.
It was close. It was close to being on my list for sure.
I got it right here. And everybody knows it anyway.
Yeah.
That's a good one. The amount of stuff in that box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even have
there's another one of those where like the art kind of directed the game, right?
Yes. Yeah, he sold the art
first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I also have the bigger board that you can flip over and it takes up like a huge amount of space for no reason. That's just fun. And also that was the first game that Stone Mary Games it comes with their own little holders as well, those little plastic ones. Mm-hmm. So you can put stuff in them, just open it up and start playing. Very nice. Yep. So that was one of the early ones that did that. So there, I snuck one in.
All right.
All right, you're number 2, Katia.
I don't know which one to bring out first. I think I'm gonna keep the more surprising one last. Okay. So my next one is Gugong.
Oh wow!
Oh, your box is different from mine.
Yeah, that's
the deluxe version from the Kickstarter. So in Gugong, it's a worker placement. You're trying to do different things in different areas, but the main thing that makes it unique is that you're using cards to swap with the card that is on the board. So your hand becomes what you're picking up, and then or something like that. Anyways, you're swapping cards, and so your numbers to use to play are constantly different. The game comes with, of course, I was going to pick the darkest color, which isn't going to show on camera. Like every player has their own tray that includes your little, like even this little piece here has like a recessed portion which will fit your workers in there as you.
Oh wow!
Like that's your little boat to go on the river. Aside from that, just give me a sec. I mean, the board, you'll get an idea here. Like, look at the thickness.
Wow.
Of the board. And it's beautiful to look at as well. And then the rest of the game inside the box, I'm going to try and not spill things, but it looks like this. And the tiles here are wooden. Like, these are wooden tile with some printing on them. There's these little kind of things that They're supposed to represent jade. They're this light green. But yeah, these wooden tiles are amazing. And then, of course, you have your player boards that are like just as thick as the other board.
Right.
And yeah, then you have your cards. But the game is fantastic. I think it's... I don't know that it's going to come out again in deluxe. But it's unfortunate because I think the game is really, really good. And yeah, there's an expansion for it called Panjune as well. But it's just beautifully done. The story, like everything, fits really nicely in the box. And like I said, the game is very unique in that way. Like the whole trading of cards. The first time that I played it, I thought like, this is so cool. So yeah, that's my pick.
You're gonna make me. It's my turn to feel bad about my version.
Aww.
I just have the basic version.
Wow.
Yeah, the little meeples are really, really cute. Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ian.
Okay. So number 2 is Dice Throne for me.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, throw Manny back at
Season
you.
1 adventure. Which one do you want me to pick here? Season 2.
Season 1 reroll or Season 2 is great because that's when they originally there was some the dice tray inserts, but they weren't specific to the characters. Whereas like ever since Season 2, and then they went back and redid it with Season 1. The character boards fold up. You put all the character cards and their dice and all their tokens and everything in the tray. You put their character on top of the tray. You put the lid on, and then that's just your character. So the game setup is just each player takes one of those packages, places it in front of them, and then opens it up, removes the components, and then like does the setup rules on one side of their big card there, and then you're ready to go. It sets up in usually about a minute. And then you're off to the races. The dials are great. They have all these dials. They have all these tokens. I know you can get like the BGG like upgraded tokens, right, where you get like the little acrylic with the heat press or whatever. But all of the tokens are like themed to the character and like custom shaped. They're not all just circular. The dice themselves for each character has different dice colors, a different like dice color theme, and then also different icons for all of their things on their dice. So like just thinking the number of characters that exists for, and now with like the Marvel ones and everything that they're doing, the Marvel Dice Throne, it's like so much. The production value is amazing. It's such a fun game too. I really like it. I didn't think that I would enjoy the game as much as I ended up enjoying it. Because, like, on the surface, it's, what some will call, like, battle Yahtzee, right? Roll dice, re-roll whichever ones you don't want, re-roll whichever ones you don't want. But, like, the system of the combat points and the cards to add in, and you're upgrading your abilities across the way, just give it this really nice arc. And then if you roll your, like, super-duper, awesome ability, you feel like a god.
Yeah.
Nice. Is this a deluxe version? Is this a normal, you know what I mean? Like, are there different versions or? If
you can go out to Target or Walmart or whatever, and you can get like a little battle pack that's just 2 characters, and they'll be in those boxes. Mm-hmm. Or you can get any of the games you get are gonna look like that. And like even the Marvel one, there's like the retail version of the Marvel one is going to be the same as the version that you get on Kickstarter.
Is that out right now?
I don't think it's out yet. I feel like it's coming. Hopefully soon.
I'm gonna get that one.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's a cool picture.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The stuff people do now with the photography, it's amazing.
Yeah, people really get into this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so fire.
That's nice. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's fun. Yeah, good pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 2. Oh no, wait, is it my turn? Yeah, it is. Just came back to round so fast because I didn't have it. Somebody stole it. My number 2 is Detective City of Angels. I talk about I try to squeeze this in almost every list, don't I? So got it right here. Grabbed it. That's why it disappeared. So I could go grab that. But let me pop me up here so I can show this instead of showing the pictures. All right, so one of the reasons why I thought of it as far as production goes, besides, of course, the Vincent Dutrait art, is I love that these things, how do I get this on camera? Here we go. Come with their own little, like, this is the Murder at Sunset one that you play, right? And then you could pick Bloody Christmas, things like that. And I just love that they're all packaged together that way.
Yep.
And then, of course, the map. I can't pull out the map, but the board is like old LA kind of thing. Let me see if I can pull it up on the. Pull it up on here. I'm sure it'll be on here. I mean, the artwork, of course, is one of my favorite. Yeah. Just gorgeous stuff. And film noir is one of my favorite things. I liked it when you said film noir. But I've never actually been to LA. But it's funny because I played this with some friends who are from LA, and they were like, "Oh, this is still there," and told me, like, a lot of this stuff is still around and where it is and stuff. So that was fun.
That's awesome. So, yeah, and I remember the character thing, right? Like, you have some of the characters punched out, but you're not supposed to, like, punch out the character until you, like, interact with them in the game, right? Isn't that, like, kind of the thing it says on the punch board? I thought that was a cool touch.
Yeah, that's why, you can kind of see my progress.
Yeah.
Going halfway. And the only reason why it isn't more is because I've gone in the game. I play the version where there's what's it called? I can never remember what it's called. It started with a C. Basically a GM, someone who plays the NPCs, and that's fun on its own too, because you get to figure out what stories those witnesses are going to say and stuff like that. So what happens is, like, I'll get to play a detective every now and then, but sometimes I have to go back. Chisel, thank you, Dan. Sometimes I'll go back with new players and I'll play the Chisel for them. So, it takes a while, but it's still just as fun replaying it whenever you're that version. So,
right.
In fact, last Dice Tower cruise I went on, I think we played 3 or 4 games in a row. We just started because they hadn't played, so I just played the Chisel the whole time. So, yeah. Oh, it's fun.
Nice.
All right. I squeezed that in there. So, Katia, you're number 1.2.
It's my... yeah, hold on a second. Of course, I just dropped a rule book.
No.
I'm trying to grab... I have like an ottoman with a pile of boxes here so that I can show what I'm talking about. This is my next one. It's an older game. Cusco. It's in the same line of games as, I think, Tikal and Mexica, which all have really nice components. This game was a surprise in terms of gameplay. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I do, but it's fantastic. It's you're basically building, again, talk about thick tiles. Like, these are really, really thick.
Oh, wow.
And it's your terrain. So basically you're playing tiles, you're trying to gain elevation, and you're putting your cute little meeples on them and claiming air. So it's I have the other ones in bins, but yeah, it comes in red. There's the teal ones as well.
Did you show one of those meeples on Facebook asking if people could guess where it was from? Thought I saw a picture of that on Facebook at some point.
I've used them in my
Okay.
I forget what this is for, but it's like this little piece of gold. But yeah, basically, that's the thing, is you're claiming territories. And then this is so heavy, okay? It doesn't even do it justice to show it on camera. But when you're claiming things, you're stacking these pieces. Like I don't even know if it almost sounds like ceramic, but I know it's not ceramic. But it feels like it because of the weight of it. And then you just stack these pieces. And it's so thematic how it looks on the board when you're playing it. Like it's so good.
I've played Mexica, which again, because it's in that same line, like it has those stackable pieces that have that same kind of finish to them, and they have that weight. And yeah, the board presence on that as you're playing is so good.
I have a copy waiting for me at my sister's that she got from a friend. So I'm really excited because I'll also have Mexica. Tikal doesn't look quite the same, doesn't look as impressive anyways, I decided to just go with those two, but I love this game so much. And I think it's underappreciated. So, and now I've made a mess and it won't close. So
now I need to play that one because I've only played Mexico.
That's future Katia's problem. After the show, clean up.
Yeah, I'm being surrounded by half-open boxes right now.
Yep. And now you kind of get a glimpse of my everyday hell of open boxes everywhere. It's the struggle is real.
Yeah. All right, Ian.
Okay, so number one, I'm surprised no one else had this on their list, and I'm assuming I'm not stealing your number one. That would be, third time really. But mine is Wingspan. I think
I thought about it.
Yeah. One of the, opening that game up as in, this is a game you get at retail, and this is just the package that everyone receives. And then just seeing that, and then opening it up, and, the first thing that you interact with as soon as you open that box up is that rule book. And that rule book is, next level. That rule book is, linen finished on a rule book. And it's just a thing I'd never seen before. Now, some of the components, you do have the punch outs for the food, right? You have the worms or the berries or whatever, but then you have the trays for all the cards, just you can just sit them in the tray and hey, there you go. And then the eggs, there's so many of those eggs, and they're all eggs, and they have a flat side, so they sit right, right? Mm-hmm. Everdale, come on, it's not that hard. And then on top of that, and then there's a dice tower. Then you just assemble this cool dice tower, and you have these chunky wooden dice that you're using. And all of it just plays to the aesthetic really well. And so it feels like a complete package of a board game. And I think after Wingspan came out, everyone else started doing very similar things with their productions. And the production quality of games in general, I think, went up. And I think you can trace that back to Wingspan. And that whole first 6 months that it was out and no one could get it and everyone wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I don't have a copy of the game, but because I use components for my art, I had to get those eggs. So I bought the special ones. I forget what they're called, but they're speckled. And so I bought a set just to use and I love taking them out and touching them because they have a slightly, it's not rubberized, but almost it has a texture to it that makes it non-slippery. I don't know. They're so cool.
The speckled ones are a user-made thing, aren't they? I didn't think those were official.
No, it's you buy it from their website.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
that's awesome. That's cool.
I have to get that. Yeah, I've got all the expansions and stuff for that. It's a great game, of course. Everybody knows that. But you're right about the production. This dice tower alone is just fun.
Yeah.
I can't play it without it because it's put it right in the middle and you play with it. Yeah, you don't need it, but it's awesome, and you kind of need it.
if ever I set it up, I always put the dice tower near me, so I'm like the one in charge of rolling the dice into the dice tower. That's intentional. That's on purpose every time. That's not just like, oh, it fits over here. And I put it near me, so I'm the one that gets to put the dice.
Let me get this out of your way. Also, the card tray, which, not to pass that up, the lid coming off and then the cards that get displayed go on top of the lid. It has little grooves in it. I mean, there's a lot of thinking going on and making these things, and it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Yep.
Yeah, I had this.
I figured someone was going to steal it, and
it was on my short list. I don't know what those are. People have been making little nests and stuff for these too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Played on Easter.
That's the thing. It has enough of like the regular production quality to where you could just play it and be like, this is an insanely well produced thing, or you can go that extra level and add those little additional touches to make it like more personal for your copy. Like most produced, like some games, there's just like, I don't know what I would. Is there anything else to deluxify in this? Like everything's been deluxified. There's nothing else I can do with this. But then some games like this, where it's like, if you love the game, you're going to go that extra step and like get the acrylic tokens or get replace the cubes with little birds because you want to.
Well, there's also something to say that a lot of publishers would have had a bird game and it would have come out okay and stuff. But to put this level of care and production into it kind of speaks volumes as to trust and thought into it. So I think a lot of that, not to say that the gameplay itself doesn't deserve all the accolades, but I think a lot of that goes a long way towards how it was received.
Yep.
Cat.
And it makes it more accessible, right? Because it makes it so you understand what these pieces are, you understand what they represent. They're not just generic tokens or something that you're putting on a card. They're the actual eggs. And it ties it thematically. So if you pick it up off of a shelf, you look at it and you go, oh, I know what all these things are. This seems like a fun game. Which, like you said, again, I think is what made a lot of people take it from like a thing they picked up off a shelf to a thing they like put in their cart and then went and bought.
Nice. Very good. Yep. Okay, so my number one is a game you'll probably be familiar with. Wasteland Express.
Yeah, As soon as you're talking about trays and stuff, I was like, oh man, I should have put Wasteland on the list.
Oh no, we lost Katia again. She'll come back. I guess it's time to update. But so this is the one that when Katia said something about inserts, I was like, okay, forget it. And I took Scythe off actually and replaced it with this one because this was the first time I've ever opened up a game, saw all of these inserts, and all you have to do is take the tops off and you're almost ready, right?
Yep.
It was just gorgeous. And of course, let me, instead of doing the pictures here, let me pull myself up here. So, you've got every bit here you just pull out and you're about ready to play it. I've shuffled it around quite a bit here, but all of the little pieces, I know we really haven't talked that much about minis and stuff, but the different vehicles and stuff that's in here. Yeah. Pretty amazing. Oh, there she is. She's back.
As if I'm missing your number one. What is it? Oh, is it Crusaders?
It's not. It's Wasteland Express.
Ooh. I thought you were going to pick Crusaders.
See, I play tested this one a lot. So I've played like all of the versions of the game where it didn't have those trays. And so we had to manually set everything up every time. And it was kind of like in those playtests where we kind of figured out like, you need something, you need some sort of solution for this. And I think they were one of the first people to like work with game trays like way back in the day to like come up with this solution. So much so that it wasn't even like, oh yeah, we teamed up with game trays and it was like a big deal. It was like we teamed up with game trays and everyone's like, okay, what does that mean? So it was like before like game trays was a name. They like came up with that insert as like a solution for like setup and teardown because the game
I think
needs
this is the first time I saw game trays actually.
It might have been. It's the first time I had heard of them, but I didn't know if that was the first time like anyone had heard of them. I assumed
There you
they'd
go.
still do
Yeah,
their own
you can
things.
see how it all lays out and stuff.
Yep.
Which this is kind of almost typical of Kickstarters that uses game trays now, but this is the first time I ever saw anything like that.
Yeah, and this was, I think, direct to retail, right? Like this wasn't even on Kickstarter. This is just
I had no
made this
idea.
and put it out.
Yeah, I had no idea that it had that. I just opened up the box, was like, "Oh my god!" It was already there. It was amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, I had to put this as my number one. Some these guys have painted these figures are amazing. And now I feel bad I haven't painted mine. Bad picture, but yeah, look at this painted.
Yeah.
I gotta get to painting mine. Look at the little symbols on the side of the 99s. That's great.
And the resources fit in the back of the trucks.
Yes.
Fantastic. And like the Raider things, so good.
I'm trying to find a picture of where you can easily see that. But yeah, and the style and everything is just great. The colors, I think this came out before Dinosaur Island, right? So
yes, yep.
So the colors and stuff were the first time I saw that much pink in a game that really didn't feel like it needed it, like it was supposed to use pink, but then when it was shoved in there like a punk style, like all that in the greens and stuff like that, I was just like, it blew me away as far as style and design goes. So plus it's just a really good game that no one really, it got skipped over real quick in my opinion. Like it's an unsung hero in a lot of ways. I think people need to go back and revisit this if you missed it.
Because anytime they take it, they would take it to a convention. It would sell out at the convention, but then like that is it. Like they would take like X number of copies, 20 or 30 copies to every convention, and they would sell out by the end of the convention. So they always knew that it would like sell like in person. But I guess it was hard to like translate that over,
sorry, what were you going to say, Katia?
I said I've never played this one.
Yeah, my theory is that because of the theme, the apocalypse, Mad Max kind of theme, people think it's basically like an Ameritrash game, and it's not. It's very much a pick up, deliver, mission fulfillment, but also it's got some fun stuff in there, where you can build up your trucks and stuff, or your vehicles and stuff like that, and it's got a lot of stuff going for it that the theme doesn't suggest, and I think that's probably the reason why it had a little bit of disconnect whenever people passed it by. I mean, I know a lot of people talked about it and stuff, but it didn't stick around for very long, and I think it deserved to. So it's actually the first time I heard of John Gilmore's as a designer, and so whenever Dinosaur Island pops up, I was like, "Yep, give me that immediately." Yep. So that's my number.
Nice.
Yeah, love it.
And Katia, what is Mike's number 5, Katia?
So another one. So it's 1.1, I guess. For me would be Gutenberg. So I played it in the gathering, and it was so. When I played Genotype, it's one of those games where it's like the theme is particular. Not everybody's going to be into it. And the play is so smooth. And I felt the same way about Gutenberg. Daryl taught it to us, and we started playing it. It was one of those where it's like, yep, it makes sense. It's like you do this. Everybody goes in bidding order. Okay, we go to this, we go to that. And then you're trying to print stuff with ink and your little letters, and it just makes sense. But the production of it is just those little wooden cubes of like old style printing, like those printing blocks are just something else.
With the letters. Yep.
Like I am trying to wrap my head around how they did that, like successfully. To have it,
they probably just like mimicked the like how you would actually make those for
Probably.
printing presses, but then just in wood. And then I feel like they did some like a staining kind of pass, which I think this person did to the max.
Yeah. But it just
amazing detail. Those letters are all printed backwards.
yes.
Because they flip when you put them on that.
Yeah.
Like brilliant.
Yep. I had them set up, and it was like, oh my gosh, those are backwards. Yeah, that makes sense because when you print, it goes like, I don't know, to me. And then there's gears, so you're adding abilities that you get to use every round, and then your gears rotate. So depending on what rotate, Matt says, I so want this game. I know, me too.
I got to play it at the Gathering also, and I was like, I need this game. I need it.
Yep.
I think Portal is bringing it to the U.S. They're the official partner for the U.S. release. I cannot wait. I played it, and I was like, yeah, this is great.
Did you play it with Derek's copy with the little printing thingy?
Yeah. It had like he had made there was this like a pencil sharpener, but it was like a little printing press made out of metal that also had a pencil sharpener in it. That had nothing to do with the game. He said
he got it off Amazon. Yeah, he said he bought it off Amazon for like $20 or something like that. It's a pencil sharpener, but it's a little mini old style printing. I don't know, but that was
his pencil.
No, but that was his first player marker, and it was so. It just it worked.
So one of the
even without that.
One of the smartest things is that board. You can see in the bottom left, like the player boards where the gears go. Those are just like little cylinders that go into those holes. And then the gears just like fit on top of them and interlock. So those little cylinders come out. They're not like a part of the player board. You just do that at the setup, and then they're just there. And then they perfectly fit the gears, and the gears turn on them. And I was like, wow, that's really smart.
Yeah, instead of doing the permanent, like the snap thingy or having to do magnets, that works perfectly fine. And it's probably way easier to do than magnets. Yep.
You just made me think of another one, but that I bet is in also your list.
Oh, I know which one you're thinking of. I'll let you say it. I don't have it.
Oh, okay. I do if I want to show it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to get this game. As a graphic designer, first of all, you got to get a game like this.
Exactly.
But yeah, hearing about how smooth it is and all that, it makes me want to try it even more.
And so the fun part about this too is, so in the bidding order, first player breaks the tie, so first player would go first, and then whoever's next afterwards in the bidding. But the way that it works, so if you're first player, the last player will have more cubes to bid with. So everyone gives them an extra cube out of their pool to bid with. And then when the first player passes over, then everybody gives that player or the last player a cube to bid with. So you're constantly sort of shifting who has most cubes because they're in last. So they, have less chances of breaking the tie, but then at least they have more to play with. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was super smart. I think it's first player has 7 and then 8 and then 9 and then 10.
Something like that, yeah.
Yep. And so, and then everyone gives one to the new last player, and now they have 10 and then 9 and they have 7, right? The way that it works and the simplicity of it, where it's just sort of everyone just hands a cube to this person, where it could have been reset your cube so that this person has 7, this person has 8, this person has 9.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they end up making it, where it's just one sentence and it completely makes the turn order balanced. It's genius.
Yep.
Very nice. Yep. You don't have this one yet, though, right?
No, but I plan to get it.
Yeah, gotta get that one.
Gotta wait for Portal. Portal's got to get it over here.
We have a few other mentions in there, by the way.
The game. I'm just gonna mention it real quick. Just because we're talking about production and the game looks stunning, but I haven't played it, so I don't know if it's actually good, but it does look amazing. It's called Millefiori, and it's one that we're waiting for it to come to North America. It's They have it
How do
in
you
France, and like
spell it?
Zatu Games has it.
Mille.
Fiore should be close to the top.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep.
That game is also like stunning looking, and people are ordering it from Europe just to have it because apparently it's not going to be here until October.
Oh, look at the little crystal ships.
Yeah, I think it has like all acrylic pieces too.
Yeah, all of those tiles are acrylic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks
so you can always
beautiful.
see the thing underneath. Yeah,
I want to say it's a Rainer Knizia game.
I think that's what it said.
I think so. But yeah, so that's another one that just add to the pile of like, we're waiting for it in North America, and it looks gorgeous, and the production looks amazing. So yeah.
It's not fair that all the Euro games are now starting to catch up to the Ameritrash
Right?
production quality.
They're not allowed to be pretty. They're only allowed to be pretty when they get brought
You
to the
had
US.
good games. We had good-looking games. You don't get to have both. It's only fair we're starting to get better game mechanisms. So, although that's been the case for a while, right? Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about glass blowing?
That makes sense.
Yeah, because everything's kind of translucent.
Okay. I was just saying the other day they should make a game about glass blowing. The only one I could think of was the Glass Road, and it really wasn't that much about glass
There's
blowing.
one that just came out recently. I'm pretty sure it's about glass blowing. It has like a fox on it. It has a picture of a glass blown fox on it, and now I'm not going to be able to think of the title.
We have a couple other mentions in the chat here. Dead Reckoning. I hadn't seen that one, but Ankh. I've seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Foundations of Rome.
Yep.
Gorgeous.
Merchants of the Dark Road.
Merchants of the Dark Road is the one I was thinking of with the magnet.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of Coloma.
Oh, I haven't played Coloma.
Oh, it's
and
good.
I want to too, but it's not available to purchase right now and stuff.
That's another one that the production's really nice.
Dead Reckoning is the pirate one that just came out recently. It's the card crafting pirate one where you have like the sleeves and everything. I played that at Gathering. It's a long game, but it's pretty fun. You have this like the ship. There's like an entire ship thing that you put together, and then you throw your cubes in it, and where they land is like when you fight another ship that like determines whether or not you win. So the production quality on it is fantastic. It's a very big box for a very big game, but the production quality is pretty great.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about. Oh, yeah, okay. Now I recognize.
You recognize the box right away. Yeah.
Yep.
There it is. That's
yeah.
That's just fun. Good stuff.
Huh.
They had transparent cards too, huh?
Yeah, so it's one of the John DeClaire card crafting systems.
I didn't know that.
Games.
Okay.
It's got this one of my favorite mechanics in it is that like in between other players, like once you finish your turn, you have one decision to make before it's your turn again, and that is which one of your units from your new hand, because it's also like a kind of a deck builder, but you're improving the cards instead of adding new ones, right? Is like you can level up one of the characters in your new hand. And they obviously get better abilities when you level them up, but like you have this new hand, and then while everyone else is going to kind of break up other players' turns, you get to like choose one of them and flip it, and then like now it's level 2 or level 3 or whatever it is. So like that decision every turn is really cool because then you immediately play that character in that turn, right? So like you're getting this bonus not when it would go to your discard, but like when it's useful to you on that turn, which is cool.
Nice.
It's different because in like a lot of deck builders, right? You buy a card, it goes into your discard pile.
Yep.
You'll see it again in a couple turns. Whereas now, like the decision is like, what do I upgrade for this turn that I'm about to take?
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, that looks really
Yeah, Merchants of the Dark Road that he mentioned on there. We all know Matt Paquette worked on that as well. Yep. But the magnet thing came to mind because they have a dial on the board that is just a magnet.
Yep.
And I mentioned this the first time I got it and even showed it, but when I was setting up the game, I didn't know it was a magnet. And I just knew that it went over there. So whenever I reached over to put it there, it sucked out of my hand and stuck there. And I was like, do I have magic powers? Like, I was like, what just happened here? And then then I was like, oh, it's magnet. Right. But just for an instant there, Matt made me think I had magic power. So,
yeah, Elf Creek has really been putting out games that have some special production quality. Like we were talking about squishy stuff earlier. Honey Buzz, like all of the little nectar tokens from Honey Buzz are like a little bit squishy and tacky when you grab them. The first player marker is a little honey dipper, like a wooden little honey dipper thing. Like it's it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, I hadn't played that one, or else it probably would have ended up on the list.
Yeah,
I have played Merchants of the Dark Road.
See, for me, it's the other way around. I haven't played Merchants, but I played Honey Buzz, and Honey Buzz is really good. Like I like
Merchants
it a
has
lot.
these little lanterns and stuff. I should have put this in the list. Actually, now I'm looking at it. I forgot about the lanterns.
And you have like little cutouts on your board, and like they stick in there, which is nice. Yeah,
this is deluxe version, of course, with these little bits. But what isn't in this list, right?
I didn't get the metal coins. I don't know how. I don't know why.
You didn't get
the metal coins. No, I'm just like I'm like anytime there's metal coins, I'm like, I get the metal coins.
These?
Obviously.
I didn't get these either. I didn't get them either, and I don't know.
So I forgot they were extra. I forgot that was like an additional thing on top of the deluxe. I was like,
I think I missed it too. Yeah, they're gorgeous. Oh, there's the dial I was talking about, and that's where it goes, and it just out of my hand. I was like.
So then I'm going to let Chris try and find some pictures of your game that we can show.
Yes.
You may have to like go and hunt on some Facebook group. But in the meantime, I got this the other day. And it's another Alice in Wonderland themed game, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah. Paint the Roses. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that. I don't know it.
I did not remember backing the deluxe one. And then I got it. And this is what it looks like when you open the box.
Yeah.
Isn't that freaking pretty?
Yep.
Nice.
And so you have...
I need it.
Yeah. So you have, like, the tiles are nice acrylic tiles. And then your Queen of... So the way that it works is when your Queen of Heart gets faster, then you add like a rose petal underneath her. Hold on a sec.
Oh, yeah.
And it clips there, and then she gains more speed, and then you add another. Hold on a sec. There you go. And then at that point, like she's catching up to you a lot faster, and you're the little rabbit.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and I don't know who this is.
I can't see it very well.
Is that the front of it or the back of it? I see a paintbrush.
Yeah, a paintbrush or a broom.
It looks like somebody's piggybacking somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There must be some art for it.
But in the game, the reason why I probably don't know who this is because the game comes with modules, I think.
Gotcha.
Just give me a sec. I'm making a freaking mess here. Again, future cats' problem, cleaning up. Oh yeah, and the board comes nice and like it has grooves
Dual layers,
for the tiles to go in. And so this is underneath. So you have like different, I think these are modules, or I'm not too sure. But anyways, for those that don't know the game, it's a cooperative deduction game. So you're placing you have like a card tile like these.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
That's no good.
Another reboot. just like those. Those are so.
Yeah, all we know is we have a card, or a card just like that.
Cards, just
we'll
like
never
that.
know. I do know a little bit. I do know that the card like is secret to the player who has it, right? And then they play a token, like one of the acrylic pieces, onto the board, which usually has other pieces around it, and they score points based on the things that are adjacent to, like, what's on the card. They score points based on that. So they'll be like, I scored 4 points for placing this here. And then other players are trying to figure out what card, like what is on your card based on what you scored for the tile that you displaced. If I recall correctly. I haven't played the game. This is just how it was explained to me at some point.
So it's kind of Hanabi. Wow, that was just explained to you and you retained that much about the game. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a Hanabi style.
If I hear a smart mechanic, I can't, like, it's just in my brain forever now. Like, I'm just nice. This is great. I will find a use for this sometime in the future.
Ian took over for you and described the whole thing.
I'm so sorry. My internet's being. I'm gonna keep the nasty terms to myself, but I have some choice words for it right now. I
don't know if I was correct, but I explained some sort of what I remember from someone telling me about it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Was that you have the card, right, and then you place a tile and score points, and then other players have to guess what your card was based on the tile, or like based on how you scored, right?
Yeah, basically when you place the tile, people have to indicate with the little cubes what that tile has in common with their card that they're holding. So it gives you clues as to what people have in their hands. And that's kind of how it's a deduction thing. So you're trying to guess people's cards to gain points. So yeah. But it's
and stay ahead of the red queen, right?
Yeah. So now we get
I need it for reasons.
Now we get to see your game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
These pictures of it.
Show people the components.
Actually, I didn't look to see how many different pictures are in here. I wonder, there's not usually a lot in BGG early on. And we kind of looked at some of the first ones here.
Yeah, I think they added quite a bit of like the deluxified stuff. So the previous picture with the meeples, those are part of the, too far. Those prototype version. Yeah. So those are in the deluxe edition. Those are your supporters for each of the 5 factions. And each of the factions has, in the deluxe edition, they have custom shapes. And you can kind of tell like what the factions are even just based off of the shapes of the supporters, which is nice. Yeah, so you have Alice and Mad Hatter and then Red Queen, Jabberwock and Cheshire. All makes sense.
Yep.
People are like, what is that? What is the thing for the Jabberwock? And I was like, it's a creature. He's got little, because there's we lost Katia again. Wow,
my co-hosts are letting me down this episode.
Right, one just haven't shown up yet. The other one just keep bouncing in and out. But yeah, so one of the allied chips is the creature chips, and they have these kind of like spindly arm tentacle-ish things, right? Yeah, you can see there at the bottom, in the middle at the bottom. The creatures have these like tentacly arm type things, which is what the Jabberwock, who is from the Togi Wood, is. Those are basically his supporters, is the creature types. Welcome back.
I decided to do it from my phone, and I turned off the Wi-Fi, and it's like, screw this, because
make sure you plug in your phone.
Oh, it's okay. I got lots of battery.
So there's standees, which is all good. Then the regular version just has standees, which, I mean, sometimes I am a sucker for just a good standee, like in a game. There's one of John Gilmore's games, Wayward, which was through IDW, and they were planning on doing maybe the deluxe version with minis and stuff, but like in the regular version, they had these like full color standees that were like super tall, and the minis would have been like almost half the height. And I was like, for like the board and table presence, I feel like the standees in full color are like the better table presence, shockingly, right? Like somehow minis aren't the end all be all of deluxeification. I don't know.
Well, when
the
you've got
deluxe
good
gifts.
art, yeah, when you get good art for the pieces and stuff, that really helps
Yep.
it along too. Well, that's
Yeah,
nice. Though.
Someone, yeah, I've seen some people painting the minis, and I'm gonna need to get mine painted. I'm not gonna paint them. I need someone else to do it.
You might
I
want to
think I'm gonna reach
contact this
out.
person because that's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is
Ooh,
really
grass. That's great.
good. There's always one person I go to first, and it's Jason Miller, who does Muffin Man miniatures. I always love his stuff. He's currently painting my set of Bunkers and Badasses minis. So I can't wait to get those back. But I think I'm just going to send him all the minis from Wonderlands War and have him paint those up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Beautiful.
So
did you reread the book?
A little bit. I don't think I ever finished it within the time frame of working on the game. But we'd had multiple times where we would do like extensive and exhaustive checks to be like, is this from the book, or is this from either of the Disney films that they're going to be mad at us about?
Right.
Which we did have. I think some of our locations, back in a world where there were more locations, we had to change the name of or eliminate because they were from the movies and not from the original stories, so they were not in the public domain portion.
Right. Yeah, that would have worried me too. I'd have to go back.
Yeah. So one of the fun things that we got to do, which was great, was obviously you have these characters, these minis, these Wonderlandians that you can recruit for your cause. Sort of similar to like how Blood Rage works, where you grab them and they're yours for the rest of the game, right? Like you're not going to lose them.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to place them out at the different regions, and they have their abilities. But to kind of extend the replayability and have like more things and more variability each game, we have the items of the Wonderlandians, which was those like lock of unicorn hair or whatever, which are a set of 2 chips that you add to your bag instead. So they're both like Wonderlandians. One of them's minis, but instead of having like 50 minis or whatever it would be if we had that many cards, and they were all just unique minis or running out of characters that have recognizable abilities that you could pull from. We gave each one their own like special item that they use, that then is another thing that you can recruit, which was great. Yeah, that board is huge. I mean, like once you get that on the table, you're like, wow, this game is big.
So what's the max number of players?
It goes up to 5 players.
And 2 or 3 minimum?
2. And I know, Katia, you had some reservations about how it plays 2 players. I would just let you know that if I ever make a game that is bad at 2 players, there are people that will come after me. The Funkhausers specifically will come find me, and they will let me know. They will drag me out of my home if I make a game that's bad at 2 players.
Oh, wow. That's a big board. 830 by 430.
Millimeter.
Matt would know.
Yeah. It takes up the table, but it's everything. Like it's everything you need except for obviously the player cards.
Is it a pants fold? Like it's connected at the top here, and then these fold up, and then they fold in on each other.
That seems like a question that Matt can answer, but not me. I think I unfolded it once, and I don't remember. I haven't got to play my copy yet. I had scheduled a game for today because I had forgotten to check my calendar before I schedule things.
That's well, yep. That's the best way to do the 6 fold, in my opinion. Yep. Cool. Little shop talk. All right. Nice. Yeah, that's a gorgeous game. Good job, Matt.
And good job, Ian.
Yes.
And Ben and Tim Eisner and Manny Trembling. Manny, like that whole illustration is Manny. And then like the score track and stuff, I believe, is where Matt and company came in Kate and Joel Finch both being in charge of additional graphic design, layout things, and the rule book. Like all of those, there are multiple flow charts in this game because of Matt and Kate and Joel. Like, and it's so weird to say, like, everyone is talking about how great the flow charts are, which is not a thing, not a compliment you get about games most of the time.
Right.
But it's really just there for your first game. Like, it's your first game. What do I do in this step? And then it just walks you through it. And by the end of that first game, you'll pretty much know everything. But it makes that first play experience so much easier and run so much smoother. And I think that's why a lot of people aren't having any of those like not so fun moments in the game, is because everything that they like, there's no struggle. It's just you have a question, go through the flow chart, find your answer. And it keeps you from having those like downtime moments of like floating through the rule book for 5 minutes trying to find a very specific answer to a very specific question.
Nice. Very cool.
It has all the references, but I think it's just enough references for what you need.
I was just about to say I was going to compliment Matt. I guess since the art came first, I'd compliment Matt there, but the graphic design looks like it's done almost by the artist because it flows so well together.
Yeah,
and yet still stands out in a way that lets you find information quickly, from what I could tell anyway. I haven't gotten to play it, so I haven't gotten the user experience yet, but it looks great. Good job.
Yeah, hoping to get to play it soon. Like I said, I have friends that have a copy, so.
Is it on Tabletopia or virtual or anything?
So the official, there's an official mod on Tabletop Simulator. And I believe it's scripted and everything. I believe Dan from Skybound, who was tackling that, I give him so many props because like sort of our later playtesting ended up being a lot on Tabletop Simulator. And so our final playtest, being able to just smoothly go through and play everything and not have to deal with Tabletop Simulator issues was great. And that was all thanks to Dan at Skybound.
Nice. Well, if it's available, we ought to have a show someday and play the game on the show.
Yeah,
we do that from time to time.
It's free. It's free on Tabletop Simulator. It was just they released it for free for everyone because it was going to be another extended like 3 or 4 months of wait time. And so they're like, listen, you can learn it now, and then once you get it with the final production quality, you can be like, this is we know how to play. This is Wonderlands War, but with minis now instead of.
What are the deluxe chips?
The deluxe chips.
Or deluxe.
They are, yeah. So they
you can't do acronyms on this show.
Yeah, I don't do acronyms.
You said shop talk. There was industry talk. It's industry for deluxe, obviously. I have no idea if that's true. Yeah, so there's the deluxe, the premium chips that you could get come in their own box that you can that is fully sorted, has its own little game tray with the dividers with everything that you can just put in its place, and then that box itself just fits in the main Wonderland 4 box. It's so good. But then the deluxe chips themselves are like the poker chip style. Like I don't know that they're clay. I don't know the material. I wasn't there for that discussion, but they're exactly what you want in a bag builder. And everyone in between turns is just going to have their hand in the bag and just making the sounds and just playing with the chips.
Thinking.
Yeah, it's so good it might become a problem. That's how good it is.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, if you can make a production so good that it causes sound issues from players, like I was saying, like Abyss has a little someone twirling the pearl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't believe
I don't believe
ceramic.
I don't know.
Who's to say? Very cool. Yeah. We'll try to figure out a time to maybe play it or something. Ask Mike if he wants to jump in on that. If he ever shows up. I guess he's never going to show up.
I don't think he's showing up tonight. I don't think so.
Poor guy stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Always I have fun with Adam. So apparently, no, I'm just kidding. So what's everybody been playing?
I haven't played anything.
No things? You're supposed to be playing things.
No, I'm working. Remember, I have a Kickstarter.
All right, that's good enough. You've been playing anything recently, Ian?
I got all of the Marvel United, which originally I had just had the base game. I didn't get in on the first Kickstarter, so I got everything in on the second Kickstarter, and I did 2-wave shipping because I was like, I just have the base box. I really just need more content, so they sent me the X-Men box just on its own, and now I had the 2 games. So I played that a couple times. Then I got everything. I had to figure out how to sort and store all of it, which was a nightmare. But I got it. I got it into 5 boxes, which I'm very proud of. It's in 5 boxes for everything.
Oh, so you broke it all down and took it out of the inserts and stuff like that?
Yeah. There's no way. Like each expansion has like 4 minis and like 50 cards or something, and that doesn't deserve its own box. That can fit all in one box. So I broke it all down, and then since then I've just been I've been on a vendetta to like actually play the game because of how much time it has now taken me to do all of this stuff. Hey, look at that!
Don't you want to have all this?
I still have all the boxes. I haven't gotten rid of the boxes yet, but a lot of them have nothing in them.
God.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's crazy.
X-Men too. I have the boxes as well.
I don't have the room on my shelves for that. That already took up one full shelf of like a bookcase that I have. It was just one full all the way across.
It's pretty ridiculous.
But I did get to play that this last week with my daughter, who loves it. She's 5, and as long as I like set her up with her stuff, she knows what to do and just can play just like normal. I don't know that she makes the best decisions. I would say we lose quite a lot. But they're her decisions to make, and she knows what she wants to do. So that's all I can ask for.
It surprises me how much, like, the cards aren't that different from each other, but I still feel like I'm playing that character in the game.
Yeah. So that was originally why I hadn't backed it in the first Kickstarter, because I was like, I don't know, is this going to be too simple? Like, is it going to be too simplistic for everything that's happening? Like, what are the real, like, varying factors that you can have besides just there being a lot of different characters? Like, how different can these characters feel? Mm-hmm. And then John Gilmore, who had gotten it, made me play it, and I was immediately converted. Like, I was like, these characters feel different. I understand, like, this is Venom, you know what I mean? Like, this is Iron Man. I feel like I'm playing Iron Man. This is Captain America. I feel like I'm playing Captain America. And then I was like, this game is going to cost me a lot of money. Yeah. John showing me that game cost me quite a bit of money. Because then I just needed it. And I was like, this is great. Like, it plays well with kids because the decision space is so simple. Mm-hmm. But it's still really, like, it's still a difficult co-op experience. Mm-hmm. And now with X-Men, you have, like, a person can actually play as the supervillain versus the heroes. And you have, like, the blue team versus gold team. You can play on different teams and stuff with all of that. And, yeah, so there's a ton of replayability because the characters do feel different. And all of the different masterminds are, like, an entirely different game. Like, some of the things are just like, oh, you just can't beat them up until you get rid of all the Mysterio token, all the Mysterio cards. You got to get rid of them, and then you can beat them up. So, like, it's like the small wrinkles that, like, change the gameplay completely. I think it was really well done as a production.
I was worried too when I first played it. I thought, yeah, it's fun and I enjoyed it and stuff, but is it too simple? Will I really play all these? And it still makes me come back because I want to try this new character and see what this villain's like and see what this is like. Like, the simplicity is just perfect enough to where it doesn't feel like a chore to play the next version. And if it was like a big heavy thing and you'd have to learn all these new stuff and all, but really it's just while you're setting up, you go, oh, okay, this villain plays this way, and it just thematically fits. It's very well done. Yep. As mentioned before, I played Talisman on this weekend, and it's a game I've played since I was 10, 11 years old. It's had different versions of it, so it has that nostalgia for me, but it's not a well-designed game. It's just not. but it with my group and my family and stuff, it's a my brother and I have played it since my brother's in the game group, so we played it for so long in our lives that it's still something to bring back. It's almost, I said it was like a party game, a 5-hour party game, because really what you're doing is just talking amongst yourselves. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, roll a die, do a card. Well, that sucks. All right. Anyway, blah blah blah. It's just more of an event, a thing that keeps you at the table while you're talking about stuff. So
there's a piece of advice that I got that I read a long time ago, and it was something that's like, as a game designer, as like it's kind of changed the way I think about things. And it was just very simply, Munchkin is a perfectly designed game for its target audience.
I think Eric Lang said that, didn't he?
I mean, it might have been Eric Lang. I don't know that it was Eric Lang. I think it was somebody. But it was very specifically like, this game is perfect for the people this game was designed for.
Right. Because
the people it was designed for love it. Like, we can come over from our high horses, and we can look down upon it, but that's not because it wasn't intended for us. It was a thing that wasn't made for us. It was like a lot of like children's cartoons aren't made usually for adults. At least a lot of times they weren't originally. Nowadays, I can enjoy the hell out of a ton of cartoons that my daughter loves. Like, there's so many that like we just watch together because I'm like, this is just a great show. Like, the writing on this is so good, and she's laughing and I'm laughing. We're laughing at different jokes, and that's awesome. But like a lot of things, like, you just have to think, like, who are you designing this for? Are they going to love it? Because a lot of times you'll have players who be like, this isn't normally my favorite type. I don't even normally like games like this. And we're like, well, you might not like this one either, which is fine. Like, not every game is for every person. So I think Talisman might be perfect for, I guess, 11-year-old Christian, right?
Right. Well, in my mind, it's like a B movie that you love. Like, it's not great, but for whatever reason, you still enjoy it. And that's fine. Some people aim for that B movie. Like, I'll always enjoy Masters of the Universe, the movie, even though it's a really bad movie. But it's just or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though that's not a great movie. But there's just some movies that get under your skin and stay there forever, and you're going to enjoy it. And no one should be able to say you shouldn't enjoy a thing or stuff, But I can still say it's not a great movie. It's not a great game as far as design goes, but it does what it needs to do and stuff. So maybe it's a great production.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's almost like we all know that there's television shows that are, I don't know, reality shows or something like that don't have the same, let's say, artistry as, I don't know, Game of Thrones or something, minus the last season. Not to get into that, but I'm just saying, like, obviously there's like different styles of stuff like that, and I think it's okay as long as you just keep in mind that not everything has to be Game of Thrones. Not everything has to be, whatever else you want to do. Sometimes you could just watch America's Got Talent or whatever it is you want to watch, or so like what you want to like, enjoy it. For some reason, I kind of enjoy it, but I still hate it. Talisman. So that's what I played for 5 hours. All of us were almost kind of like, yes, get in there and win at the end, because we were like ready for the game to be done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I thought of if Eric Lang didn't say it, he was repeating it at one point, because I read it, I think, maybe from his Twitter or Facebook or something. But it's funny because I thought of that last night whenever I was, not last night, but the night that I was playing Talisman. I was thinking like that, just part of that is in part of my head. So it's interesting. Yeah, but I mean, as far as design goes, I guess if you think of it as the designer thought of their target audience and made a game for that, then they did their job well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that target audience necessarily is as big as it used to be anymore, though. And maybe that's where my thinking is coming from.
Yeah. I think we've, like, hobby games have like slowly been treading water towards like medium weight is now light medium, right? Like it's sort of like as an industry, everything is slowly getting more complex to the point where anything that is like was a light game before is now too light or barely an experience, that doesn't really hold up for like against like the new wave of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's a stepping into it as you are introduced to gaming, right? Like you play, I don't know, Ticket to Ride, and that blows your mind for the first time. But 5 years later, that same kind of style game won't blow your mind. You have to keep upping the to get your mind. And at some point, it's like, yeah, that's too much, and you know where you like to live. So.
There's like this weird bell curve where like as I've been gaming, I was like, oh, I like heavier games now. Heavier games are great. Heavier games, and now I just want like the simplest thing that plays in the least amount of time. Huh. I don't want to learn a ton of new rules. Just give me something elegant. Like that's all I want is just like a nice, elegant experience. I've lost my tolerance for heavy games, having played so many and having played like prototypes of so many. You know what I mean? Like that have missed the point of like heaviness and complexity.
I think for me,
you just burn out.
For me, for heavy games, I only now dive into them after I've heard a lot of people go, "This is good." This is like okay. That's going to be worth the hour-long learning experience or something. Fun. But I used to just grab anything heavy and try it, and you're right. I don't know if I have the tolerance for that anymore. But, I mean, the heaviest thing I've played recently is Ark Nova, and that was definitely worth it. I don't know if you've gotten to try that or not, but...
I haven't. I know it's not like it's one of those things where as like the pitch immediately I was like, oh, this isn't a game for Ian. This isn't an Ian game, and I know this, and that's fine. I just like it. A lot of people hearkened it to Terraforming Mars, which was also an experience that I did not have fun with. And that's just not my type of game. Like there's just giant stack of cards. I got to dig through it to get stuff. And the action system seems cool and the stuff that you're doing, but it's just more of the like, I get easily frustrated with games where I'm like, oh, I can do this cool thing, and then it's sort of like that thing just never shows up. And I like to build towards those experiences rather than just be like, here's a card, play it. Here's a card, play it. Because then I feel like my experience is a little bit more dictated by the randomness of the things that I get rather than I am exploring a strategy that I like. So games like that don't really hit for me. And I understand the people who like them, why they like them. And Ark Nova is like just been massively popular recently. And I get it. Like it's like, I think that action system would draw me in initially, but I feel like as I would play it, the card system would like pull me back out a little bit more than what I would want. And for like a longer game, I just kind of like, if I know I'm not going to jive with it, I'm good on just passing. Like I'm okay. You go ahead.
So I have the same issues with Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars has so many branches of things you could do that if early on you choose, I'm going to do this thing, and you could never see any of that thing, and just your game's nothing and stuff. But in this game, there's only like 5 ways of doing it, and you'll see those things pop up. So it has that issue like any card game like that would, but it's so much more minimal an issue than it is in Terraforming Mars. But not all games for everybody and stuff like that. But I always feel like every time somebody says, oh, I heard it's like Terraforming Mars, I didn't like Terraforming Mars, I didn't like it that much either. I played it a few times and I was like, it's not for me. But I love this one. So there is a little bit enough difference to where if you were close to liking it but didn't, I don't know.
Also, for me, the other part was the art in both of them have the same like flaw.
That they're photos.
That they're photos. And then Ark Nova, they were just like they put the art is my passion filter over it, or graphic design is my passion filter over top of all of the pictures, and I'm like, I don't want to stare at that for 2 hours.
as a graphic designer, I hated that about Terraforming Mars, but for some reason it works for Arc Nova because I love looking at all the animals. I don't know what it is.
Sure. Yeah. It's not
it'd
just
be great if it was art.
stock photos of like a meeting or whatever. Yeah. It's more.
I mean, it'd be great if it was art. I'd love it more if it was art, but it's like, I don't know, like 1,000 cards that are individually different or something. I don't remember how many cards are in there, but it feels like it. So I understand why they went with photography. But.
Yeah, I understand why they do it. It's just like when I have to play it, I'm just like, oh, this is going to bug me a little bit every time I draw a card, which is a lot of little bits over the course of the game.
Yeah, I thought it would too, but it didn't really. So I was surprised by that, though. But, again, that's subjective. So, well, all right. Since we know Mike's not going to come along and visit with us, he'd rather be stuck in traffic all night.
Nah, I'm sure he's home now. But probably unpacking.
Do we want to remind everybody Katia's Kickstarter, Wonderlands War is still up for grabs if all of that looked attractive to you? Anything else we need to tell people about?
No, I think that's all of it. They can join us in the Batcave after the show if
Right. Yep. We have a Discord we like to go to afterwards. You're welcome to come to, Ian. Just chat in there a little bit if you want. Don't have to. And people can ask us questions in there. So if you go to our Discord, it's also linked in the description. And go to the Batcave, the not speaking channel. What is that called? Vocal channel. Voice channel. Thank you. Voice channel. So, it's late. Well, thanks for coming along, Ian.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, inviting me. I guess through Michael, but yes,
Yep. I'm going to invite somebody some point and run away.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I'm looking for the button I'm supposed to use to close this, and I'm trying not to look like I'm looking for the button. There it is. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.